Hello, my name is Nikola Schmidt from the Institute of International Relations in Prague, and I'm going to talk about my paper, which is titled Experts as a Normative Power in Global Governance. So my point is, or let's say my central problem I'm going to talk about is how knowledge produced by experts influencing political authorities. So first of all, what I see in my paper is that the knowledge the scientists are producing are changing public perceptions on what is important challenges humanity faces, and therefore altering responsibilities that we place on political authorities, which means that especially when in democracies, when we are more knowledgeable about some phenomena, we are putting more emphasis and deeper emphasis on the political authorities to somehow deal with it, especially when it comes to a phenomena that can turn to be a threat to society. So there are two ways of the knowledge production effects. The first one, that knowledge frames new threats. The second one is that knowledge frames new opportunities. In the first example, threats are hampering human flourishing. When it comes to the second example, or it's the second kind of knowledge, it's the opportunities which are enabling human flourishing. So what are the general effects? The general effects I'm going to study is that the production of knowledge is changing the sources of authority, whether it is a political authority or epistemic authority. Secondly, and the most important effect, which I'm mostly interested in, is that the effect changes the foundation of the social contract per se, whether it is national, transnational, or possibly global. So the questions which are to be studied in my paper, or which are currently studied in my paper, are what are the sincerity, or to what extent the experts are sincere when it comes to their intentions in answering the normative requirement, in meaning whether they produce knowledge for the political authorities, or whether they produce knowledge to somehow alter the normative foundation of the social contract and then push the political authorities in a way which was somehow, let's say, developed through the scientific inquiry. The second question which is going studied is the alteration of the normative requirement to align with other political agendas. It's a situation when the political authorities are saying that we are already addressing these issues. They are not necessarily new, and this is the way how they are lowering the, let's say, intensity and importance of the particular knowledge which have been currently developed, because they simply don't know how to deal with it. So it's better for the political authorities to alter the normative requirement in this way. The third question I'm going to talk about in my paper is the paradigm shift of the political authority itself from national to transnational or cosmopolitan, given the inability of national political authorities to address global planetary scale challenges. It's the situation when it comes to pandemic, when it comes to planetary defense, when it comes to any threat which is planetary scale inherently, in principle. So the national authorities are simply unable to address these issues, and they need to cooperate with other national authorities, which in the end means that they need to find a way how to cooperate in a coalition of willing, we can call it in this way. So the question is, to what extent this situation that there are national authorities, national political authorities are required to cooperate, whether it is not, or does it undermining the social contract, because that's, let's say, the question then, to what extent the new knowledge can somehow undermine the social contract on the national level. So there are justifications of political action: a normative requirement, which is the knowledge; a normative argument, which is the justification for action. So there are three examples which are going to be developed in the paper. It's climate change, planetary defense, and the pandemic. When it comes to pandemic, we have a very interesting empirical data from the COVID-19 pandemic we experienced several years ago. When it comes to planetary defense, there's a really huge amount of knowledge developed by the astronomers and by engineers who are participating in planetary defense. And when it comes to climate change, in this particular example, we are experiencing a situation in which we can, let's say, observe the deliberation between the epistemic and the political authority. So, knowledge creates first the requirement in order to justify the argument of a chosen policy. So the question is, has the policy sincere intentions? And there are two phases of the planetary scale challenge, as we call it. And they are somehow copying or representing the positive and negative security perception, or what we call creeping crisis and emancipatory opportunities. When it comes to creeping crisis, that's a concept which was introduced by Mark Reinhardt, for example, and it's a concept in which the securitization and the classical critical security studies and the negative security are included. So in this concept, the point is that if we can recognize the particle threat which is emerging but has not already materialized into some disaster or consequences which are detrimental to the human society, they are keeping crisis. So we can identify them and we can stop them from materializing. When it comes to emancipatory opportunities, it's a concept which I like to work with. It's about the emancipation or reflexive ethical security studies, positive security. The ethical security studies, it's a concept or it's a school which was introduced by Anthony Burke and John Nieman. So I'm very well inspired by their literature. So in this particular concept, emancipatory opportunities, it's about the enabling emancipation opportunities for human biosphere flourishing. So my final question in the paper is going to be about, is the normative foundation of human rights about survival or flourishing? And I'm going to theorize and conceptualize it through, let's say, the theory which I have just explained. Thank you for your attention.